Since 1961, Quartz Plumbing has offered friendly, reliable service to residences all over Bergen County, New Jersey. We are a fourth-generation family-owned business, unmatched in customer satisfaction and professionalism while working in your home. We are the hydronic heating and water filtration specialists with a workmanship guarantee to put you at ease so you can rest comfortably. We offer financing for those big projects that catch you off guard, and we have a network of excellent contractors in all fields for any project you wish to tackle. Call our responsive office team, and we'll dispatch a handsome and educated technician to lay the smackdown on all your plumbing issues. You can also find us at quartzplumbing.com, search us on Google, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Like, subscribe, and share, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Plum Bums Podcast, the blue collar tradesman show where we talk about small business and entrepreneurship, the everyman's podcast. I am Phil, as always, with my trusty sidekick Max, Shaggy Max.
Today I took a shower for the people. Took a shower, put some cologne on.
You take a shower for the people that don't smell you, but you work with me every day. You know.
I take showers for you.
I'm going to stop ripping on the hair. Actually, it's been consecutively 3 episodes, so yeah, I'm actually getting used to it now.
Looks good.
No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, it looks good.
But it's there.
You said it to me in the truck before. I'm starting to like the hair.
Hold on, we're not supposed to talk about what we talk about in the truck. What happens in the truck?
That's
stays
why
in the
we
truck.
did this. This is because of what we talk about in the truck. It comes here.
We'd like to welcome Frankie back to the old grind.
We already welcomed her back.
We did, but
she's not happy to be back. She was living a life of luxury.
She was. Did we tell stories about that?
Yeah.
About the way my mom would just feed her grapes and rub her legs.
Yeah.
While she loves my mom more than me. I know it's true.
Yeah, I could see that.
She loves my mom more than me.
Because your mom feeds her whatever she wants.
Oh, that is true. My dad spoils her.
I remember one time your dad feeding the dogs, my dog and your dog, when he came over, he was feeding them not Popeyes, it was Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Those are expensive. You give it to a dog?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Chick-fil-A to bring back that honey pimento sandwich, which is, you're not on the honey pimento.
No.
Dude, it's delicious.
I'm a Wendy's guy.
It is delicious. And I went there. I was like, where's honey pimento? When they took it off the menu, they're like, it'll be back next summer. I'm like,
what's pimento?
Oh, you don't like olives?
Yeah. Okay. I'm out.
It's the red of the green olives.
Yeah.
I love olive oil. Hate olives. I don't. If it touches the pizza, like if somebody orders pizza and
Dude,
the
you
olives,
ain't right.
Yeah. I hate it.
It's like people I know who like peanut butter and jelly, but not together in a sandwich.
Have you ever?
What?
That I've never heard of.
Folks, this is Steve Hopper, by the way. We're going to get into what Steve Hopper does. But let's visit this peanut butter and jelly, but not together in a sandwich.
So my mother has this, her mother and his brother, so I guess they're direct cousins of hers. And she's got 10 of these cousins. One of them, his name is Jerry. It's the Belanco family, so they're big into the plumbing business.
Okay.
Up in Montvale.
We should know them. All right.
So Jerry was in the Boy Scouts, and for one summer he was one of my Boy Scout leaders up in Floodwood Mountain Reserves up by Lake Placid. And the Scoutmaster was like, whatever we serve, everybody's got to eat it. So it's like, you can give me one piece of bread with peanut butter and one with jelly, but not together.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But you know what? I'll say
Watch
this.
That guy.
Europeans hate peanut butter and jelly together because they think it's too sweet. They think that's like a dessert.
All right. Beans on toast.
Yeah.
Beans on toast.
Terrible cuisine.
Awful.
I'm about to crap on Britain right now, but the cuisine over there was, when I went, it was not.
You know what I love? I have a guilty pleasure of watching foreigners eat American food.
Fried chicken?
Like British students react to
biscuits and gravy?
Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
I love those videos.
Going back to the olive thing, I'm like that lady on was it not Jerry Springer what was the other one? Maury. Yeah. Remember when he brought out the olives and she was terrified of the olives?
Do you remember those shows? Where he would bring out people who were afraid of ridiculous things like cotton balls and stuff.
I just didn't even bother with that garbage.
So
you don't like smut TV?
No,
not Jerry Springer, where they would stage fights and stuff.
Oh,
no.
When I was homesick, it was Springer and Maury all the way, trash TV all the way. I loved those days. But he would bring on people.
Was it a drinking game or was it legit?
Well, he would bring on people who were like deathly afraid of black olives. One lady was so terrified of cotton balls and they would tell stories on how they developed these fears, and it was clear that they were like assaulted as children or something, and he would just mess with them. This lady who was terrified of cotton balls, all of a sudden this dude head to toe covered in cotton balls starts walking out the side of the stage, and she starts screaming bloody murder. It was just complete. It was so cruel.
Wow.
All for views. Ridiculous.
So going for the extreme factor.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's how those daytime talk shows make their viewership, by just being outrageous. Mm-hmm. Look at Springer, man.
I slept with your sister, and now we have a baby.
He was the mayor of Cincinnati.
Dude, he had a legitimate talk show.
He was the mayor of Cincinnati?
He really was.
Jerry Springer was the mayor of Cincinnati?
Yeah.
That's like Kane, the wrestler, being the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Springer started out as a serious show, and a couple shows in, he's like, I'm not going to get anywhere with this, and he just started bringing in wacky people.
Yeah.
And now look at him. Like, Springer is like, it's
Money.
an American pastime.
Yeah.
What else we got? Ooh, so we got renovations coming up. I'm getting calls for renovations, which I just want to click the phone. How do you feel about that? I'm done with renovations, dude.
We're doing a job right now for the Park Ridge Diner. It's a total redo.
Oh, they're redoing the whole diner?
Yep.
How long are they expected to be closed for?
So we're trying to do as much as we possibly can without them shutting down. And they're going out. If you know the Park Ridge Diner,
I do.
The Krausers is right next to it.
Yeah.
So the people who own the Park Ridge Diner own the property where the Krausers is. So they're going to make that into one parking lot. So they're going to extend towards or they've already done that. They extended the footprint of the diner 16 feet, so they eliminated however many of those parking spots.
Weren't we just at that diner? That was the big construction.
That was the big pit.
That's you guys.
Over there.
Yeah. So we do their work, so they're like, we'd like you to do this. I'm like, okay. So the original plan that we got had like 4 fixtures to it, and he says, I guess the rest of it's going to be extras. I said, I guess so.
Yeah.
I was like, geez, that's my problem is with renovations. It's just me and Max, and I have a whole bunch of regular customers that need service. So I schedule a renovation to be there all day. I get called off for 2 hours. I got to send him somewhere for a couple hours, and the renovations never get done.
Well,
we lose money.
What I've found is with renovation work, schedule it Tuesday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Because Monday is always...
Mondays. Oh, yes. You're right.
I used to call it Home Depot Mondays because people would try and put stuff in over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's also when they're home, so that's when they discover that they've got a problem. So I would never schedule renovation type stuff on Monday.
Do you do emergency calls?
Yeah.
You do have...
Yeah. But I'll preface that by saying I haven't found an answering service I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So what I do is after hours, the phones come to my cell phone. So a lot of times the call comes to me. If they're an existing customer, I know it, and I can explain to them where to go and shut water off, what have you. And if it's a burst pipe, it's a burst pipe. If it's a no heat, it's a no heat. But if it's a drippy toilet, that's not an emergency call.
Right.
So
you gotta pick and choose that.
You got to triage the calls.
Yep. Yeah, customers got to understand that we need a life too. And I have a dispatch fee that we do because if I'm around, I'll take them. If Max isn't around, we'll take them. And before I even get there, I got to run your credit card for $200.
Oh,
they go,
okay.
What do you mean? What are you going to do? I'm like, listen, I'm not dragging a guy out of his house on a Saturday evening with his family to come to you, and let me tell you, it's going to be an additional cost when he actually gets the work done.
Yeah, we do a service call plus the repair. A plumbing call is $95 during the day, and a heating call is $150 because there's a little more diagnosis to going and seeing a trap leak and whatever. after 4:30 until 8 o'clock in the morning or on the weekends is $295 plus. And what I do is I if it's one of my guys that's on call, I give them $100 to get in plus overtime. So there's a spiff in there for them to take it, because otherwise you got to give them incentive to want to do it. And, if it's just, you have to do this, one of my guys lives in Roxbury. He's an hour away. One lives in Wallington, which isn't that far, but it's far
still
enough.
A pain in the ass,
Yeah. So it's got to be worth it. And if it's an emergency to them, you have a main backup. That's an emergency, but you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Lack of maintenance causes emergencies most of the time.
It's true. Folks, we want to remind you that we're always looking for guests to be on the show. We always throw this out there. If you guys are interested in being a guest, if you're in a cool industry, if you're in own a special type of business or an entrepreneur. Is this what you think cool is? I got to talk to you about, we have to have a conversation off camera actually about some fashion choices recently, because I was seen in public with you and I was a little...
Nah. This is your outfit everywhere, so I don't want to hear anything. I had to actually bring you a suit because at one of the dinners...
You're trying to dress him down about fashion etiquette?
Exactly.
Oh, listen, we're a married couple. We are a married couple. It's disturbing.
Oscar and sometimes. Felix.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to play a clip for that. But guys, if you're interested in being on the show, again, we're always looking for somebody who owns a small business in the area, entrepreneur. You're going to go to quartzplumbing.com. You're going to click the podcast link in the upper right corner. You're going to fill out the Be a Guest application, and we'll get you on. It's a lot of fun. Talk about your business. You get to talk about how you got into it. So go check that out. Fill out the application to get on the show. Also, we want to let you guys know that Plum Bums is now sponsored by the New Jersey State League of Master Plumbers, which is a huge thing for us.
I'm not touching it. Don't worry. I'm just putting my coffee down.
Huge thing for us. And actually, Steve is the guy that got us in there. We appreciate that, Steve. So we feel obligated to bring him on,
You haven't even cashed the check yet.
No, we haven't. We don't know if it's good. The website for that is joinmasterplumbers.com. They do... Basically, it's broken up into local segments, local sectors, and you can correct me on this.
Okay.
But they do scholarships. They work with schools to promote scholarships. They have a lobbyist that comes to the meetings that's there for everything, which they pay for. But you have to give small business a voice, and that's what the New Jersey State League of Master Plumbers is. We encourage any plumber who's getting into the trade, who just got licensed, who's starting a business, get involved in your local association. It's important. It gives unity. It gives you a voice. It gives a group a voice, because let's be honest, politicians don't care about us.
United we stand.
Politicians don't care about the small business guy. They don't, because we don't give them anything. We don't offer them anything. But if we get together, we band together, and we make our voices louder together, you make an impact, especially with that lobbyist there. I didn't know that was true, actually.
Which part?
That you had a lobbyist that came.
Yeah. That's
great. It's needed. It sucks, but it's needed.
One of the things that we didn't touch on is in our local association years ago, because I was working for my father since I was 14, but I was driving at that point. One of the members had a medical problem, and he had jobs that he had committed to, renovations and stuff like that. So the Pascack Valley group, which you guys are involved with, everybody donated, as I remember, because we committed for 2 days to finish the work that he had contracted out.
Right.
Because he was a one-man band doing renovations and service work. So when he got sick, he was dead in the water. So it's huge to have the backing of your fellow plumbers, because what are you going to do? You got the deposit money in. Are you going to say, I can't do it? And then you got to give the money back, and sometimes that money's already been accounted for.
100%.
So, you work and you help each other out, and it's really a good group to be involved with, because we care about each other and we help each other out tremendously.
It's true. We've been to meetings. We've sat down. We went to the Christmas party actually recently, which was great. Delicious food. Oh,
Delicious food.
So banging.
It was also cool because they donate to other associations, other programs like Wounded Warrior Project and
we
stuff
had
like
someone
that.
come and speak from Wounded Warrior.
Yeah, that was cool.
No, I'm sorry, Tunnel for Towers.
Yeah,
is what it
sorry.
was.
Yeah.
It wasn't Wounded.
Towers.
I actually have to give that guy a call. I'd love to get him on the show.
And that was what I didn't know. During 9/11, they got that name because the one guy put his turnout gear and ran through the tunnel.
Yeah,
And to
that
help
was a cool
assist.
story. Yep.
I was blown away by that.
That is crazy.
We give to the Sergeant Herbeck,
Yeah, Sergeant Herbeck.
who was killed in Afghanistan on a second tour. He's the stepson of one of our members, Jamie Hodges. So they're big in the Westwood area. Hodges and Son Plumbing and Heating.
It's giving back. It's
Yeah.
getting together, giving back.
If you can't give back to your community, what are we actually here for?
Exactly. I totally agree, because small business owner is a small business owner, but this is a big reason why we did this podcast, to get involved locally, to network, to showcase other people who are trying to build their business, be an entrepreneur. The whole competition thing is stupid to me, especially around here. There's so
plenty
much
of work.
There's so
And,
much work.
You know, and what I like is sometimes if somebody, there was a restaurant in Westwood that just used to cycle through plumbing contractors like every 2 to 4 years. And it was a big restaurant, but it was a restaurant. So I got a call on one Saturday. So I actually called the plumber who was doing it. And I said, listen, I got a call about this customer. I said, I know it's your client. I said, what's going on? And another one was Lou, who was the vice president. I went to an estimate that he had already contracted, gotten the deposit. And they actually showed me the estimate, said, oh, if you can beat it by $100, you'll get the job.
Are you kidding? $100?
And I said, I'm not interested. I said, you've already given a deposit. So they're staged to come here tomorrow, and you're going to pull the carpet out from underneath of them. And
Wow.
I didn't say anything. He found out about it, and he really appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's not right.
That is so scummy. But the problem
It
with
takes
that is
every types.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to have a diner in this area. They're going to be local to this area, and then they're going to just gouge local businesses like that. That's terrible.
If we allow it.
If we allow it.
If we don't allow it, then, you know.
Join the association, folks. If you're a plumber, get in the association. You do a shotgun shoot, right?
We do a shotgun shoot for the sergeant. Or actually, the Sergeant Herbeck does a shotgun shoot that our local association, I think we donated $2,500, and the state league also donated this league. So this year. So, you know, it's tremendous. I mean, the young man died in the second tour in Afghanistan, and they named the Westwood post office after him.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
Well, Steve, thanks for getting us in there, man. I appreciate it. We'll put good use to that.
This is just.
I'll
It's a
get you a more
tremendous.
comfortable couch.
Yeah, I'll bottom that. You got a piece of half-inch plywood to support it here?
I'm going to tell you something.
I dropped 2 inches since I sat down.
Well, I know you
Sciaticus
watched the
kicking
show,
in?
but the guy who we just had on, he's got to be 400 pounds.
He was a big boy.
Big
Okay.
dude. We had the wrestler on. He was 420.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Mass. Oh, huge, towering over me. I had to jerk the camera up to just get the top of his head. So we've had some big guys in that couch, and this was $40 from Amazon. So it might be time to upgrade. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I affectionately refer to your show as Wayne's World. So
Yes, which I love, which I absolutely love. It's great. No, folks, today with us is Steve Hopper of Pratt Plumbing, third generation. Pratt Plumbing was started. Was it Pratt Plumbing back in
Yep,
1927?
by John Pratt in 1927.
Crazy. What a history.
So-
98 years.
So in July of 27, we're going to have a hell of a party.
Oh, I'm in.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
We'll do a live
And-
broadcast.
And my father passed away in January 24, but the best I can come up with is that he assisted 40 guys with becoming plumbers.
Wow.
So
Huge.
he
That
was
is
really
huge.
proud. He was actually a teacher up in Rockland County as well. So he was very proud of that.
I've noticed that with a lot of older guys in plumbing, that they're more proud to like get younger people,
Yeah,
get
to
newer
further
people
the
into
profession.
into the profession than they are with, not necessarily their own business, but they're very proud to see,
Yes.
people going out and making it being successful in this business.
Well, what I noticed is with the older plumbers, as an example, when PVC and ABS came out, and with the corrugated stainless steel gas pipe, as an example, and PEX, their first reaction was, "You're making it too easy. The homeowners and the handyman can do it. Stay with the soldering." I grew up doing lead pans. The last one the biggest one I ever did on my own was an 8x8 neo-angle lead pan.
8x8.
8x8, and there was a seam, and then you had to put the black magic in after you sealed it, and then there was no styrofoam to pitch it.
Right.
You had to get the shakes and the 1/4-inch plywood or 3/8 plywood and screw it down to pitch the whole thing, and then you solder the brass flange to the lead.
That's crazy. I'll tell you, plumbers today, us included, we have it very easy.
I know. Every time an older guy talks about how plumbing used to be.
Whoa. Older guy. Jeez, why can be so harsh?
Well, he said he's been doing it since 14 years old.
Sorry, Steve. Don't pull our sponsorship.
No, but it's just, I probably wouldn't have been a plumber back then.
Brutal. Cast.
Like, just
big
lugging
10-foot lengths of cast, lugging upstairs. My grandfather started in the city.
I don't even want a house with stairs. I want a ranch.
How old are you?
I want a ranch.
You act like you're 90.
Oh, he was born at 40 years old.
Yeah.
He came out 40. He came out with back problems. No, the
We'll get back to that old age thing because I got a spin on that you're gonna like.
we got. I listened to the older generation, and it's just what a difference. Even just using PVC. Now I know that's been around for a long time.
It's been around since probably the late 70s.
Oh, has it been that long? That early?
Yeah.
So I feel like they went. So there was a solid decade where they got away from cast, used copper, and they realized copper just breaks down really quick with detergents and stuff.
The urine would break down the copper with the toilets.
Yep.
So
and then they went to PVC pretty quick.
Well, up in the Montvale from Westwood North, it was ABS because there was no primer. But the problem with ABS was when it got cold and it came off the roof rack, it would just shatter.
Yeah.
So even though you didn't have to prime it, you do need it in a full piece.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You need to be able to hold liquid running through it.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
We did go to ProPress. Mm-hmm. And I'll get into the progression of your business, but we did go to ProPress. What would you say, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And I avoided it because, we were sweat pipe like men, But to be honest, it looks nicer. There's no leaks.
You do water heaters and you don't have to wait for the water to stop running.
Yes, absolutely. The one thing I'm not sure completely sold on MegaPress yet. And I know we've talked about this, but I love threading pipe. Okay. I like it.
I like depositing money.
You shot me right down.
Since 1927. What are you? Since 1962?
Does the customer really care if it's threaded or if it's MegaPress?
No.
Okay.
You're right. So, all right. So MegaPress it is.
Well, you can continue to talk. But I think I killed you right there. I took
I
your
think
knees
you
out.
did. You kind of shut me down. You know what? It's funny because Paul didn't even know he had a threader in here, and I started working, and it was tucked all the way in the back. I was like, Paul, we have a full threader here. You know that, right?
He opened up the case. It was like in Pulp Fiction when it just glowed.
Yeah, when it just glowed.
But you end up having so much stuff, you're just tripping over it because you don't use the threader as much, and all. So I get it. I mean, no one. I mean, I grew up on rigid 300s. It's a pain in the ass to haul that thing from job to job to job.
It is. I'll give you that. All right, we're looking into MegaPress.
But I told you could borrow ours anytime you need it.
I want to do a test run with it.
It'd be cool.
Generators are coming up. We're going to have to do a bunch of those. So Pratt Plumbing and Heating, 1927, your mother's father started it in Montvale.
Correct, yep.
And what was what was the licensing thing back then? Do you have any idea what it was like?
Yeah, so
If you had a wrench.
no, you actually had town licenses.
Oh.
And when my grandfather he actually died 2 weeks before he was born. And my father had been married to my mother since 1962, so it was 3 years, whatever. I'm not exactly sure if it was 2 3/4 or 3 1/4, but for argument's sake, 3 years. My dad had Emil Christian, who was a plumber in Montvale, was also the plumbing inspector. My dad had to go on a Saturday, and we cut him out now, but for the toilet, you had a lead bend and a wipe with the lead, and he had to do a wipe to pass his exam. That was the biggest thing he had to do.
Oh, they had like real life experience.
Yeah, you
that
have to show me that you're a legit plumber. Come over on a Saturday and show me that you're worthy of this.
That's crazy.
It's
what a different world.
Yeah.
100 years ago.
You know, he was a very honorable man. So it was, but in the bigger cities and stuff, I'm sure that there was, you know, they wanted to suppress how many plumbers were in a certain city, like Hackensack, Patterson, Teaneck, Jersey City.
Yeah.
So,
you think they had to suppress that?
I don't think they had to. I think they wanted to.
Why is that?
So if you have the father who's getting older, who's in his 50s, maybe 60, and he's got a son who's going to take over the business, he decides to become the plumbing inspector for that town, don't you think you'd prefer his son to get most of the work?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So, I mean,
there's always been that
shouldn't
stuff
happen,
going
but,
on.
You know.
It does.
To a degree. I mean, I wasn't there, but, you know, just human nature would tell you that, you know, oh, call my son.
Yep.
Yeah.
You want to keep it within the family,
Yeah.
so that's very normal.
1927 and 1962.
So my dad took over in 65, and then he ran it for 1965, and he ran it till 1989. So he saw a tremendous growth.
I would imagine so.
Even like we spoke about this earlier. You've seen me with a book like this for years. Yeah. I mean, I just write my daily notes and I come back and, you know, if it's estimates, what have you.
Your daily affirmations.
And years ago from the 20s into the 30s and 40s, my grandfather had a book similar to this. I didn't even know about it.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, there's heat loss stuff in here because back in his day, his claim to one of his biggest jobs, because back then, and we're fixing it now because we didn't know, was all radiant heat, and it was all copper in the slabs.
Yeah.
So they did the houses going down Forest Avenue after you leave Westwood, after the cemetery in Emerson.
What decade are you talking about when they put those in?
Probably the 50s.
Okay, so 50s, yeah. That caught me off guard actually a couple of years ago when I found a house in the 50s that had radiant. I was like, what the heck?
Paramus has them too.
But what they didn't know then, which we're fixing now, is the lye in the cement would eat away at the copper pipe.
Oh.
So now, you know, there used to be copper coming up through the floor with baseboard or whatever that wasn't Armaflex or whatever. It's just rotting away. You know, they didn't do a bad job. They just didn't know.
They didn't know.
Because
they did not know.
That book that you pulled out, the black one, looks like the Plumber's Bible.
It does.
So I thought it was a Bible at first.
I'm happy to share it with you. It's got different.
Looks like the King Pratt version.
Yeah. It's got it's got different heat loss for different rooms, so that would tell them how much, you know, how much copper they'd need for that coil and all of that stuff.
You know what? It's a shame that because I do everything on my phone.
It's an app now. We do that on an app.
Yeah, that's the
we
thing.
do it on an app now.
There's not going to be any cool trinkets when I'm like 80 years old. From when I started.
Here's the iPhone 6.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
care of it.
Here's my old SD card. You can plug that in and see what's on it. You know?
You're going to be doing plumb bumps till you look like Moses.
That's a podcast stay trendy. I hope so. I found this in an old shelf, this receipt on the wall. The year after I was born from my grandfather. It's tough to turn that way. I'll show you when we cut the camera. But 1982. for a full toilet rebuild, reinstall, new
Yep.
band, like $78.
Yeah. There was my mother, she's amazed at the prices. What did you charge for a water heater? I said, Mom, it cost close to $1,000 for the water heater. Oh, that's horrible. We used to put them in for $200.
I know. That's crazy.
I'm like, yeah. And what'd you pay for a car then?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could buy a brand new Cadillac. My dad always told me you could buy a brand new Cadillac for like $7,000.
Yeah.
$8,000.
So
It's really a shame. I mean, and it's tough to convey this to the customer, especially post-COVID, because post-COVID, really, the pricing and the manufacturing has all shot up way faster than regular inflation.
oh yeah.
And nothing's gone down.
Nope.
Nothing's gone down.
And it doesn't go down.
no. We're
It's
locked
the
in
new
this
normal.
Listen,
That gives me chills,
throughout
that
history,
phrase.
though, when has anything ever really gotten cheaper? Like on the average, at the whole.
Well, I will say like 2x4s and plywood and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It shot up
yes.
during COVID. Like I was paying, we were doing 3 bathrooms in a house, $80 for a sheet of 3/4 inch
I
plywood.
know, it was insane.
yeah, but that's like an economic crisis. I'm talking about just like on the average, everything keeps going up constantly.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
That's
you know.
it's a
So-
fact
Do you
of
want to
life.
make less next year than this year?
I know.
Okay, then it's going to
Yeah.
go up.
It's going to
No, I
go
know,
up.
but that's what I'm saying. Things are always going to get more expensive.
Yeah, of course, but you got to
No.
give value to the expense.
Yes.
You just can't hit them over the head and say, yeah, it's 8% more this year.
Yeah.
So it looks like your dad had it for about 25 years, 28 years, and then you took over.
I took over because he ended up getting his plumbing inspector licenses, and there was a guy who was retiring who had like 5 or 6 towns, so he just kind of slid right into that.
Okay.
And he said, "Do you think you can handle it?" I said, "Yeah, I think I'd handle it." So I'll never forget. He came home one day, and I learned, I guess through my dad, but also a dentist is a good, you learn from different professions. So the dentist said to me, who was also a customer, he says, "Steve, you got to get the person out of pain." So on one day when he was coming home, because he'd end up being up there by 7 and he'd get home by 3 to see if I needed anything, I sold a commercial water heater, a sewage ejector pump, and I started talking to somebody about changing a heating system, and I think a toilet repair all on the same day. And he's like, "You did what?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I thought you needed help." He says, "I should learn from you."
And when did you take it over? What age did you say again?
So 89, I was 20, depends on when, but I was probably 24.
I'm
I bought-
envious of that age.
24 to take over a business.
Yeah.
And a business that's been around for a long time already.
Yeah, I got my
a lot of
license.
pressure.
But I didn't look at it that way,
No?
because I've been doing it since I was 14, working with other plumbers that my dad had, and then I had been doing the renovation end of things, and my dad and another guy had been doing service. So once you learn the renovation, the new rough-ins and stuff like that, that's the foundation that you need to do the service work.
Right.
You've got to learn how to install the system before you can service
true.
it, in my opinion. And
I totally agree with that.
it's not a question of, oh my God, the water heater blew. It's like, okay, let's shut the water off, drain it down, and you got to change it. Now, there are nuances to checking the water quality and prevention and stuff like that, but, stuff like that is Band-Aid plumbing.
Right.
So, you just got to go in, and the biggest thing is answer the phone
Yes.
and show up when you say you're going to show up.
Every single person that sits in that chair says the biggest thing is answer the damn phone.
On our trucks, it's so bad with our competition. The guy who lettered our trucks, he's a good friend from Hillsdale. He says, "You're one of the few that show up."
Yeah.
So he did the hashtag that says "we show up." He put that without even talking to us.
That's great.
So I'm like, okay.
Listen, I it's mind blowing, but that's a marketing. People need to
sad,
see
though.
that. It is sad.
It's sad that's
Nancy hears it all the time. Oh, you're the first people that answered the phone. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys called us back. I can't believe you guys actually showed up.
Flappers $300. We're calling somebody else.
Yes. Gouge them, twist, pull out.
It's all about choices.
Well, you were working with the family for 10 years before you took it over in 99, which is a huge background. I mean, a decade, because we used to
89.
do that. 80, did I say 99?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 89. Because I remember when we turned 10, 11 years old, we would go out with Grandpa. We would clean fittings. We would hold the ladder. We'd run to the truck. So I know that.
So that was at the time, so let's see, I was 14, so call it late 70s. That was cleaning copper fittings, mounting baseboard. There was a tremendous push. That was the oil to gas time.
Yeah.
And that was before public service was in. So I'll never forget, I was in 7th or 8th grade. So in the springtime, it was always a transition time after heating season, before renovation season. So I'll never forget that they were in a pile. Back in the day, it used to always be Bell and Gossett pumps.
Yeah.
So
you can tell by working in this area, it was all Bell and Gossett.
It was all
pump.
Bell and Gossett pumps. So my dad's like, if you want to take them apart, up at Wallace and Ennis and Franklin Lakes, they take back the motors and rebuild them.
Oh.
So the spring of my 7th grade year, $5 a piece for those Bell and Gossett motors.
How many did you bring up?
100. I was kind of,
You put a down payment on a house back then with that kind of money.
I had $1,000 when I was 17 for a truck.
Jeez, I listen.
So
and that was in the late 70s.
And people, and that quickly got away. Oh, you're just going to be a plumber? I mean, yeah, but I'm not grabbing money from mommy and daddy for my truck.
Yeah.
That's still that mindset is still out there.
Not as much, because it's a lot more respected than what it was.
I would hope so, but what I'm comparing it to is the fact that when I give a price to people and they're like, oh, I can't believe you would charge that much, and I'm just like, you have no idea what my overhead is. You don't even have any clue of what I should be charging.
Well, just spin. I would spin it around. Well, what do you think it's worth? Can you do it?
Do you have this tool? How about this tool? Do you know how to fix this?
The second you try to fix anything yourself and you have to go to the hardware store and buy just buy the tools for what you need to do the job with, it's already more than what we charge.
Without batting an eye, with the service truck, you've got $60,000 worth of truck and inventory in your truck. Without batting an eye.
Yeah.
It's true.
Plus the value of the truck.
Yeah.
It's true. I got to pay the lady that answers my phone. The lady, my aunt.
You always say the lady.
Yeah,
I know.
Yes.
She's a nice lady.
Very nice woman. Very nice woman we found. No, I don't have to argue. It's not consistent where you have to argue our price, but remember that radiator stop valve we had to put in the other day in the house that you didn't want to go back into?
Yes.
And I give him, I'm like, listen, it's going to be $500 for me to do this. I got to shut down your steam. I got to take apart. And it wasn't just a stop valve that came right into the radiator. I had to replace the black piping, the relief valve, I said, listen, this is going to be like 500 and change to do this. Oh, I can't believe it. All right, well, we'll think about it. So I'm about to pull out and he comes outside. He's like, fine, we'll do it. So I go there. It took me about an hour and a half to do it. I had to sit there and notch out from the radiator and stuff. Hour and 15 minutes.
You changed the spud coming out of the radiator?
Yeah, okay. I always do. And job was done. Looked beautiful. Ran. They were finally getting full heat to the radiator. And he looks at it. He's like, this is something that I could have done. And I'm just thinking, like, then why didn't you?
Yeah.
You hear me.
I don't want to say what I want to say about that house either.
You can. They don't. Like, you're going to, after the job is done, you were able to sit on the couch and watch Maury while I did this, first of all. And you're going to come up here and say a beautiful job done and say, so I could have done this. I can't believe I got to pay you $550. It's like, yeah, you do.
I guess you're a better man than I. I would have said you can start tomorrow. We start at 8.
Well, we got to starting at 8. We start earlier than that. And to be honest, we don't get anything done before 8 o'clock. He comes into the office. I'm sitting there working on a computer, just smoking a cigarette. I'm like, why don't you run to 7-Eleven and get some coffees? By the time we walk out the door, it's 8 o'clock.
You've got a coffee maker right there.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
I just bought that. I literally just bought it. I like my Monster coffee drinks.
Yeah.
What is a Monster coffee drink?
You know the Monster energy
yeah.
drinks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Monster makes these 4 different types of coffee drinks.
Gonna put your head through a wall.
Are you going to try and have your heart explode?
I love them. They're so good.
Yeah, well.
We had a buddy, a contractor,
Or
electrician. He had a big problem because he was drinking. When he told me how many
4 a day.
4, he told me like 7.
7?
He told me he was drinking like 7 of those
Oh my
like
goodness.
the big Red Bulls a day. I'm
Destroyed
like,
his liver.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he had massive liver problems. I'm
Destroyed
like,
his liver.
it's like, how are you doing that?
And like, just not the liver, among other things. Like those things. Well, I say I
probably
have them 2 or
deteriorate
3 a
your
week.
teeth.
I have 2 or 3 of those a week. I think that's okay. I think my body can kind of. I think my kidneys are okay with that.
So 2 or 3 a week really means 6 to 8 a week.
Yeah, maybe 6 days a week.
You're giving me CNN reports here.
I like that. We're going to use that again. So let's. I want to touch base. We're going to take a break here in a minute, but I want to touch base between 62 and 89. I can't imagine the differences between 27 and 62, but 62 and 89. You had the advances in the sewer.
Yep,
PVC,
sewer tappings.
Stuff
You went
like
from
that.
septic to sewers in the 70s.
Boiler upgrades.
Oil to gas conversion because
gas.
of the oil embargoes. Yep.
Now, let me ask you how running a business was different. Like how, like the procedures and stuff like that.
Oh, God, it was... So I can only speak for ourselves and the Blanco family, but there was one phone typically in the kitchen, and it was a 2-line phone. That was a big deal back then.
Oh, yeah.
So you press a button for the business phone, and then you have to stop dinner because so-and-so is calling in.
Right.
And my dad had a small office off the garage. It started off to be like I guess a third bathroom off the garage, but he made it was like a 5x6. He had a typewriter there, a file cabinet, all of that stuff, and he had a shed in the back that was probably 12 by 12 with a stockade fence in the back for the pipe and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he thought he was really doing something good because he had a loft upstairs and he got like 6 water heaters in one shop before they went up $10 or something like that.
He's just like my grandfather.
So you had to hump these things up and down the stairs to save $10. And what? And I'm like, are we beating these things up? Are they gonna?
Yeah.
I said, you know what? They have them on the flat cement floor at the supply house. I think there's a reason for that.
Right.
Oh, I just saved $60.
It's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, it's crazy with, because people, it was very, very rare for plumbers to have shops outside of their homes.
Yeah.
And, you run a family business, and at that point, I had bought a house before I was married, so I had gotten married, and we're still running the business out of my parents' house. I found a place in Rivervale, which I ended up buying, but she says, why are you doing that? And you've got everything you need here, and we had a 3-car garage on the other side of Montvale for our supplies and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because I think that's the next step. Well, you're making a big mistake. You're going to be back within a year. I said, well, if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Yeah. I'm young enough that I can recover. So
nice.
I want to be 24 again. Let's do this, Steve. Let's take a break. We have a bunch of stuff to get to when we come back. But we'll take a quick break. And folks, thanks for sticking with us. We'll be right back.
Call Quartz Plumbing and Heating. Top-rated plumbers in North Jersey for over 60 years. And don't forget to keep treats for Frankie on hand. They'll help to subdue her carnal, animalistic nature.
Pratt Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling in Park Ridge, New Jersey, has been your trusted source for superior plumbing, heating, and cooling services since 1927. Our team specializes in expert repairs, installations, upgrades, and maintenance agreements for residential and commercial clientele. Over the years, we have cultivated a faithful following of satisfied customers, and our goal is to become your dependable partner for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Our commitment to excellence is evident in every job, and ensuring customer satisfaction remains our top priority. Please call us at 201-666-8400 for prompt and professional service. We also offer 24/7 emergency services to ensure you are always supported, regardless of the situation. Pratt Plumbing and Heating, your trusted plumbers for 100 years.
Jigsaw PMR Property Maintenance Restoration in Oradell, New Jersey. Ready to tackle the toughest disasters affecting your home or business. With state-of-the-art equipment and years of experience, our responsive staff will get you back home quicker than anyone else. Check us out at jigsawpmr.com and follow our cleanup journey on Instagram and Facebook. Give us a call at 201-425-4855. Jigsaw PMR, restoring peace of mind.
All right, folks, we're back with Plum Bums Podcast. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Of course, we appreciate the likes and shares and all that stuff. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe. Okay, that's how we get our name out there.
We need money.
We need money and views. We want fame. I want Joe Rogan fame.
I don't want fame.
It's been 2 years. Where is it?
I don't want I want the illusion of fame. I just want the money.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We are here with Steve Hopper from Pratt Plumbing in Montvale, New Jersey. No, you moved to Rivervale.
And then I moved to Park Ridge recently.
Park Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not paying attention?
I'm
so many things on your mind, I know.
I got 3
He's
cameras.
got a lot of
Come on.
balls he's juggling right now.
We were talking before 100%. I got to edit this thing after. So we were talking, you took it over in 1989.
Yep.
The changes from 1989, not fashion. We don't have to talk fashion, although we could touch base. 1989 to present. What would you say is the biggest thing that has changed in the industry in that time period?
So,
if you can't think of one, think of top 3.
well, first off, there's no downtime anymore. It's fantastic for being responsive with cell phones and things like that. But you used to, the way it was they had just started coming out with car phones at that point, and
they were like this big.
Some people had bag phones, but primarily, if you had a phone in your truck, that was like you had made it.
You're a baller.
And the damn horn would beep when a phone would come in.
What?
So yeah, that's the way you'd know that you had a call if you weren't in the truck.
It was connected to the.
Connected to the phone, so you could be in a basement and wah wah wah.
No way.
Yeah, so then you have to go out and answer the phone. Yeah, when you come home, can you bring a gallon of milk? Like, you're killing me here, Smalls.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Oh man, what a difference.
And I mean, cartels up in Montvale, they used to open at 6. So
okay.
It's funny, you just learn to do things a certain way. Now it's GPS, they open at 7. But what I would do is I would know what the work was for that day.
Yeah.
I would go to our shop, grab what we had and whatever we needed. If it was 2, 3, or 4 trucks, I would get the material for the trucks. So that way, in my mind, even back then, if I would go for an hour, that's better than 4 guys up at the supply house at 8 o'clock when it was busiest, and then get get on the job. You can't make money when you're driving. You got to make money turning wrenches.
It's true. Someone had told me, and this was a good point, I never forgot it. Someone said it. Think about every time you guys have to go to the supply house, they're dropping $250.
No, I figured.
Yeah.
Because you got to stop what you're doing. You got to go there. If there's not a line, it's a minimum of an hour and a half.
Oh yeah.
So
people don't understand that too. Like, listen, and we're going to get into this, the Frank Bilal seminars and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was telling a guy today. We were discussing. I had my drain cleaner guy, and me and him were blowing his mind with numbers and social media and like digital invoicing and stuff. And I said, listen, you can't bill out your day at an 8-hour day because you're not being productive 8 hours.
No, you get 5 hours.
5 hours, 4 hours. So that's why our hourly rate is higher. If I spread it out over an 8-hour period, it would be lower. But we're not profitable. We need to make that money somehow. And that's what customers also don't understand.
You can tighten it up by being organized and having things.
Veto. I'm just kidding.
I don't know if Vito works for you. He don't work for me. But you saw you had a young apprentice in here, and then you get to the point where you have an inventory, and on the job tickets you got a column, and then you put down the material that you use. It's a good opportunity for somebody like him. You get the apprentice on restocking the truck. That way they know where the stuff is.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
That's
the perfect place to start.
That's a good place to start. Then slide them into doing drain cleaning, because that's where you can get your bones.
That is true. So you had when you took it over in '89, how many guys were working there?
So when I took it over in '89, it was myself, 2 other guys, and my dad would come back in the afternoons from being a plumbing inspector.
But now you're up to 7.
Yep.
7 guys in the field, and then office staff, I guess.
It's hard to quantify that because, yes, but the work gets done so much quicker now.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You've got ProPress fittings. It takes 2 hours to change a water heater now.
Yeah.
It used to be in the book for 3.5 hours because draining it out. I mean, we've got the Milwaukee pumps on the truck, the battery powered ones.
Oh, I've seen those. Those are cool to stick.
Well, but you can also hook it up to a hose, a transfer pump, an 18-volt pump. You pump them out at 5 gallons a minute or 8 gallons a minute. You can pump out a 40-gallon water heater in 5 minutes.
That's cool. Milwaukee makes something like that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The kid that does all the tools and the advertising for the tools on YouTube, he's got one. I've seen him use it.
Huh. We should look into that.
No, they're really good.
Every transfer pump I buy breaks down in like 2 months.
Because of the water's hot.
Well, yeah, it's hot. And also we have horrible water.
Yeah. So
horrible
but
water.
The thing with Milwaukee is you get a 5-year warranty on them.
Oh,
what are they? Are they rated for heat too, or no? You just have to wait.
They're plumber transfer pumps. So, I've not gotten one denied to me with getting. There's a place down in Clifton that I bring stuff to, the tool shop or toolbox, something like that, and they're great.
Milwaukee's good with that.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you do when you have to service? We haven't had to do this yet when you service your ProPress, because they're only good for up to 50,000 presses. Have you ever had to do that?
I brought one in that was 3 years old, and it was under warranty because it was actually overpressing the fitting. We had, because the Taco zone valves will give you more BTUs than the Milwaukee zone valves. So when you add up the baseboard, you'll get at least 60,000 BTUs through a Taco zone valve.
Okay.
And the Honeywell is only 35,000. We actually had a job in Park Ridge where the first floor was never getting hot. I said, you're looking at, a 1/2-inch pipe versus a straw that you're trying to get the water through. Yep. And it's not going to satisfy you. So we're actually going to be changing a boiler and changing controls and all of that stuff because we gave them actual answers, not,
So you recommend Taco zone valves? You like
Well,
them?
there's an application for them. I mean, the Taco zone valves are more expensive.
Yeah.
But, if it's it doesn't matter for the price. If it's not going to do the job, then I don't want to put it in.
Yeah.
A callback is a hell of a lot more expensive than doing it at twice the price of the valve.
I'm telling you, and figuring this stuff out takes time. It takes keeping a journal. It takes brain power.
We deal with Wallington Plumbing Supply a lot, and they do the corrugated stainless steel and gas piping and sizing and all of that. And we went down, I brought the whole crew down. It was like a 6-week course in TACO with sizing pumps.
6 week?
One day a week for 6 weeks.
Wow, okay.
We can't be, we're with what's available to customers on the internet. You can't say, I think this will work.
Yes, you're totally right. You're totally right.
This is going to do the job, and you've got to stand there with conviction that it's going to do it right.
Yeah. It should, 007 should be fine. 007's for everybody.
And I've seen it go from Bell and Gossett 100 pumps, and all of a sudden there were Bell and Gossett little reds that burned out, and people were throwing them at supply house counter guys because they were losing money. Then they went to TACO, but people didn't really consider head curves and the amount of pipe and all of that, and boiler. Just because each boiler's got a tapping of 1.25 inches doesn't mean that you have to run a header like that.
Right.
You can run a 1-inch header if the BTUs warrant it.
This is why I'm telling you, the plumbing is the most expensive trade for a reason. There's so many little things that we need to know to keep a boiler running as long as possible, as efficient as possible. We got to put in stuff that lasts for 50, 60 years. I got to put my name on that for your, if I'm going to rough out your kitchen and stuff.
Yeah.
If you start to get clogs within the first couple of years, that makes me look bad. We got to know this stuff.
You put plumbing, the plumbing that I put in is going to last the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's it. And look at the way he looked at me when he said that. Conviction.
Sold. I'll buy it. I'll buy it. Whatever
it's
it
the
is.
truth. I mean, even at 45 years,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's going to last 45 years.
Well, if
it's done right.
Yeah. 100%. I tell people that. I'm like, I'm coming in here. First of all, we're
you
working
could even
with,
get it to the point of giving people, a lifetime warranty as long as you're in the house, because how many people are going to be in the house for 40 years?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. People are flipping houses left and right. I always ask people because we go in, we're getting a lot of new customers. I go in and we give a full home inspection. Mm-hmm. And I start talking to them. Where'd you guys move from? How'd you end up here? What's your long-term plan with the house? Mm-hmm. And I get, we'll be here 5-6 years, maybe 10 years. People aren't parking it anymore. They're going to live in the house. They're going to try to increase the value of the house and then move out and sell it.
The younger generation is more into renting than they are owning too.
Which is crazy to me.
It's cheaper to rent. That's why it's cheaper to rent nowadays than it is to buy something.
My place in Rivervale where I sold, they put up, there was a house right next to it, and then our property in Rivervale, they leveled it, put up 15 townhouses, and they're renting them for between $600 and $6,500 a month for a 3-bedroom. I'm like, you've got to have one person making over $100,000 just to make the rent payment, plus utilities.
That. Yeah, I mean, that is just so insane. I don't own a house in New Jersey. I don't think I ever will. I got to go to PA, man. And if I have to drive, I don't care. I don't want to work and be a slave to my mortgage. You brought in actually a little punch list, which I found interesting. You said, and I love these stats like this because this actually helps you build your business, figure out a sales plan. You have a punch list of here, 75% of Bergen County homes, and I totally believe this, were built before 1980, over 45 years old.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So you're going in there with the old cast/copper drain lines / galvanized water lines.
You don't see galvanized as much as I did a lot of repiping when it was threaded brass and galvanized. You see a lot of times what I see now is, and again, they didn't know, they ran a 1/2-inch copper.
Yeah.
And the piping was undersized, which means the velocity was faster, which means the bottom of the pipe, you'll actually take it out, see grooves in it, and with the hardness of water, that's where you see the pitting in it.
I'm telling you, it's stuff like that that is fascinating. You think you put in a pipe, you run water through it, what's it going to do? But you're literally at the bottom of the pipe putting scrape marks because the water's moving faster than the pipe size allows.
It's just science. The smaller it is, the faster the velocity is.
So if we're looking at 75% of homes built before 1980, there's no reason why I can't have plumbers on this podcast that are my competition. There's so much work around here. There's so much to do.
You just have to, like what you're doing with giving a free home inspection, which is actually going to be part of one of our social media ads, that they're going to give that away, is a free plumbing inspection, because you don't see it as much anymore because sewers in this area were put in the 70s. But you do still have houses that have house traps.
Oh, yeah.
And it's much more prevalent. It came up from Jersey City, Hoboken, things like that, because the sewer and the stormwater were all in one, and you were trying to prevent the stormwater from coming back into the house.
Right.
But, what my dad would always tell me, that there were different thicknesses of the cast iron pipe. Back during World War II, it was thinner cast iron. They used to call it victory weight because they needed the cast iron for the tanks.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. It was thinner back then, huh?
Because they were trying to satisfy the war effort.
Precious metals. You need to save, reserve.
I'll say this: these fittings made in Thailand, they split when you screw something into them. You know how many times we've had to return fittings,
the
black
one
fittings to our supplier? We did a radiator
So then
once.
stop buying them.
I don't have. Here's
it
the issue.
Twice, then
Here's the issue, and this is what I like about GPS, because when you walk in and you order material, they'll say you want imported or domestic.
Right. Yeah.
You don't get that. You don't. And I'm not going to fault my local supplier, but they're 10 blocks away from me. That's the problem.
The biggest problem I have with them is if you can't pick up the phone and talk to me, then I can't deal with you.
Yeah. I
don't want to talk to somebody in Missouri.
That's exactly, yes. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating.
It really isn't, because there's a lot of other suppliers that'll pick up the phone.
Yeah.
It sucks because the location is right there for us. It's tough. But there's a couple other interesting stats on here. Bergen County, largest county in New Jersey, population-wise.
I
I didn't think that was true.
Why?
But, I thought it was Essex or Passaic or something like that, or Hudson even.
Yeah.
But it is. It's the largest population.
It's the most desirable area to be in because it's the easiest commute to New York City. Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to live there.
People are running out of New York City to get here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's New York plates everywhere. Oh.
Absolutely.
Bergen County from New York City used to be considered the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the fireplace on 17?
Yep.
There was a picture in there where it was like an old picture where 17 and Route 4 crossed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was a 2-lane road, crossing a 2-lane road with a stop sign in the middle, surrounded by trees and farmland.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Paramus Park used to be a celery farm.
Yeah.
Did it really? I didn't know that.
Paramus Park was a farming. Paramus was a farm
celery
town.
farm.
That is insane.
And what did you fall off the turnip cart? Where do you come from?
You know
That's
what?
why
You
my
just get
dad
tunnel
moved here.
vision around here.
My dad moved here from New York City.
Remember Alexander's?
Yes,
Remember
with the mural.
Yeah, with the big mural that was there forever. And then they did all that construction on 17 and Route 4, and there's still the same amount of traffic.
I think they're redoing
worse.
it. They're going to
It's
redo
worse.
it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well,
It's going to take another 20
at least
years.
when my parents were around, but my dad had the plumbing truck and my mother had a car. So now, how many more? And when I was 17, I got a car, which was unusual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, everybody else would, you can use the car on the weekends when I'm not using it. But I mean, how many families have a spare car, or, nobody had nannies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And they have to have a car for the nanny to bring the kids back and forth to school.
Everybody in the
Absolutely.
house has a car now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my wife and I went to Bermuda for a honeymoon. We've been back since, but they're only allowed to have one vehicle per property. And it doesn't matter if there's, multiple generations living in the house. And the bus service, the public bus brings people, adults and school kids. And that's how they keep
and the school kids.
Bermuda's the size of Paramus.
Yeah.
It ain't big.
No.
But
our public
right.
transportation isn't great either. I'm sure Bermuda is a lot better. That's the other thing. A lot of people around here, you need a vehicle around here.
I would love to take the train. I would love to take the train everywhere. If it was a lot easier and a lot nicer, I would love to be able to take the train.
We need a bullet train in this country.
Yes.
Is what we need.
Well, we have the Acela.
Where does that go? Does that goes?
You can take it from Secaucus to Washington D.C. That's like 2 hours.
How fast is that thing traveling?
I don't want to know. I just know that it gets me there in 2 hours safely. So I say thank you very much, and I get off.
Do you know the biggest town in Bergen County?
The biggest town in Bergen County, I would say Hackensack.
Hackensack, that's right.
Well,
The biggest school district in Bergen County is Ridgewood.
Oh, it is, huh? I wouldn't have guessed that. Is that on here?
Sometimes you just got to look at the census numbers because it helps you define your customers.
Exactly. It really helps you. It really helps you sales.
Ridgewood's a good town to be in, but it's very old.
Which is great for us.
Yeah.
Great for us.
So it's also any water system that has wells. Park Ridge Water Department has Park Ridge and Wycliffe Lake. Ridgewood is pumps. It does Ridgewood, Glenrock. I know it does Ridgewood and Glenrock. I think it does other neighboring towns as well. Any of those have got the forever chemicals because we as a people were horrible with putting gasoline or chemicals or whatever in the ground.
Infrastructure around here is brutal.
So you have the filtration and then the hardness of the water. Yeah. So
terrible. I mean, people who come here from New York, they don't even know what's in store.
Well, it's great because the first thing that they want is a filtration system, which is huge because they get great water over there in New York.
All these New York customers were selling filtration too, for sure.
When somebody moves into a house, that's the selling point that I talked to them about. I said, you need a doctor, a dentist, an auto mechanic, and your plumber.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then, anytime you call, we'll answer the call.
Yep.
Where you go to.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest selling point. And to be honest, it's not that hard to get a customer nowadays. All you have to do is answer the phone. We talked about the first time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, let's go back to Pratt Plumbing and Heating.
Okay.
Chris Pratt.
We talk about this, that what I love about this area. See, my brother did plumbing out in Ohio.
Okay.
When your work radius is like 100 miles. Here, we don't leave a 4-mile radius. You don't leave a 4-mile radius. It's wonderful.
I was actually questioned. I had a mechanic working for me for a year and a half. He had done work in New York City. And he says, I've been here for a month and it's like a 5-10 minute drive to go into these calls. So on my office wall, I've got actually where Shannon is as you first walk in, it's the old Hagstrom laminated map.
Yeah.
So we don't work in Rockland County. So it's basically a radius. So I put a push pin in the office location, and then I measured out the scale. 80% of our work is within a 5-mile radius.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Not even circumference, a radius. And,
Yeah. My brother would tell stories about him traveling for like an hour and a half just to get to a water heater replacement. Oh, you know what's crazy about out there? They don't buy their water heaters, boilers, furnaces. They rent them.
From the plumber?
From the plumber. Okay. And they pay a contract, which I actually think is pretty cool.
It's actually it's good for the plumber, good for the dealer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're locked into a contract. It's like a service contract that you're locked into.
Yep.
But they don't own, they don't actually own
So
their
you
utilities.
secure the homeowner as your client.
And we've talked about this as well. Service contracts very much increase the value of your business.
Well, it's one of the metrics for if you want to go and sell the business.
Yeah.
Because it shows the commitment from the customer to you.
Yeah.
So,
do you think you'll ever sell, or are you going to keep it and pass it to the next generation?
I'm not sure. At this point, I know that my son's going for computer science up at RPI.
What's your son's name? I'll talk to him right now.
Last year, he got an internship for Department of Homeland Security for New Jersey.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
I think you got a hard discussion with that. So,
come on, you want to be a Fed? Let's go. Follow in Dad's footsteps over here.
so when he was in, what the hell was it? It was 5th grade. He got because his sister got it the year before, an iPhone for a Christmas present. So I said, you got to pick out a code to lock the phone. Okay, I got it. Well, tell me what it is. His birthday's October 3rd. He was born in 2002. He says, that is real simple, 1379. Now, he's in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dad, it's real simple. It's the 4 numbers on the keypad of the phone.
Yeah. So you think he'll do well?
I said, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, you think he'll do well?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of money in computers. You can't deny that.
If that's what he wants to do and be happy,
Yeah.
I said, he actually worked for me for 2 summers, was fantastic. I mean, when the new thermostats came out, he just looked at the instructions and just put it in without even being asked.
Really?
He would work and he wouldn't look at his phone. And
I hate those things.
He looks at me and he says, Dad, you work too hard. I said, well, you just are constantly moving.
Yeah.
And you're constantly thinking ahead to make your next step easier.
Listen, it's not that you work too hard. I'll give him credit.
Thank you very much.
No,
It's almost slouch,
anytime
huh?
you want to be denigrated, just come on over.
Well, you just build people up to knock them down.
It's when a fresh set of eyes get on something. My uncle was very successful, but he had it his way. When I came in, I had a fresh set of eyes in a new generation, and it's hard for the previous generation to see that because you get accustomed to something.
Oh, my father was thankful that I took it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to move on to be a plumbing inspector in the next chapter of his life and stuff like that. But
A lot of guys, that's kind of their goal. It's just
he did it for 25 years, and he's like, okay, I'm good with doing this and doing what I got to do, and then just shut my phone off and going home.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the other thing is we're also constantly learning on the fly. Like with the new Nest thermostats, that's something very new, even to us.
Yeah.
Those are very, very new. So it's a little bit.
and you can't say I don't want to do it because then
Exactly.
somebody else is going
Right.
to do it, and you're going to lose customers.
And then you're going to lose
And
exactly.
some 7-year-old with an iPad,
Yeah.
he knows how to put in a Nest thermostat now.
you
because
don't want a 7-year-old showing you up.
My dad was comfortable in having typically 2 trucks, 3 trucks, that type of a setup. 3-4 guys. I mean, at one point when I took it over, because I ended up having at that point it was United Water before it turned to Veolia.
Right.
There was a contract called Leak Guard. I don't know if you
Yes.
ever. Okay. So I was the plumber for the entire state for Leak Guard.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Yeah. So we were doing 4 water service replacements a week.
Wow. That's a huge contract.
Plus, then they did inside repairs. So that was from 2000 to 2007. So the fall of 2007, we also had in 2006 to 2007 the Courtyard Marriott in Montvale. So in the fall of 2007, when the economy crashed,
I built their swimming pool.
oh, that little thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's small.
It is.
It's really like
It's a nice little job.
it's probably the footprint of this building.
Yeah.
But and the water pressure, they don't listen. I was in the fire department, and they had 2 feeds, one coming off of Chestnut Ridge Road and one coming off of Grand. So I used to be in the fire department in Montvale, and I'm like, you've got very, very low water pressure, so you got to make it up with volume. That's okay. The engineer says that we only need 1 water feed. I said, you're making a problem. So on bigger jobs with that, and they ended up having another GC come in, and he said one thing that really stuck with me. He says, Steve, the one with the most paperwork on these things always wins. I had a thick folder. emails going to the engineers saying that, you're making a problem. It's only 35 pounds coming into the building.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah.
For a hotel with 187 rooms.
Yeah, it's like, how are you going to satisfy customers like that? But
They put a booster pump in. And we had to run a 6-inch line off of Grand Avenue.
The architect said this should be fine. Okay. Have you heard that often?
They're entitled to their opinion. Can I have that in writing, please?
Yeah, there you go. That's important. Get it in writing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Advertising
Yep.
in
That's
1989
changed.
as opposed to 2025. Advertising. This is what my uncle said. There were two places to advertise. You could either advertise on TV, which no one ever did because it was too expensive, or the Yellow Pages, or three. Let me say this, or the church bulletins,
Yep.
which was always good. So that's what he hit.
Yeah, I mean that's what was, and in the yellow book there was the big Bergen County book, which was mega expensive, and then you had the small community books, which is what I ended up getting into, and that way you could hit, like there would be a Ridgewood book.
Yeah.
The one for the Pascack Valley, which is what we were in, was considered the Westwood book. You get Westwood, Hillsdale, Emerson, Montvale, Wycliffe Lake, Park Ridge, and then you could have the Northern Valley book or whatever. So,
well, how about now? What are you guys doing now? Because I know we spoke a little bit about this off camera.
yeah.
But a huge difference with social media and stuff like that.
So part of the way we do it with the program we have is called Thrive. And at the conclusion of any service call, we send them a quick thank you note for having called us, and we hope you're happy with our work, and we leave a link that they can give us a Google review. So, and just didn't think anything of it, but I think we've got like 250 reviews right now.
Oh, wow. That's
and
good.
One thing I didn't even think about was we just had a new hire last week, and he says, yeah, I went onto your website and I looked at your Google reviews, so even employees look at Google reviews as a qualifier, which didn't really think of.
To be honest, that's smart for an employee to look at.
Yeah.
Check you out.
It works out well. All it caught, I mean, I didn't bring it, but Shannon from my office had a stellar idea. She got this thing called Link, and it's a QR code with a wristband. I've
seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
I've got it on basically a business card.
Yeah.
And they can scan it, and then it's basically brings you right to the website.
Yeah.
You can leave a review or what, but people don't want to deal with business cards.
No, they don't. They really don't. They want everything digital, which is fine. I have a QR code.
It moves too fast.
Yes. I have a QR code on my business card, and we sell, you know what we've been doing? I have postcards that I made a flyer for Quartz Plumbing with our information, the QR code with her face on it. We put those indoors around where we're working.
Okay, that's smart.
And I have the business card with the QR code, but I make sure on the website you can go right to leave a review.
Yep.
You can book us online, trying to get everything digital. Because to be honest, the old timers are moving away.
Yeah.
Or, for the lack of a better phrase, kicking the bucket.
Was that George Costanza's wallet?
I've got that's in the front pocket. I got it right there.
Oh, see, that's perfect too.
Yeah, right
You got
there.
to get something like that.
So I don't like to wear the wristbands because I don't like it.
Yeah.
No wonder why you had to have surgery with that wallet in your back pocket. Jeez. Your whole
It's a George Costanza wallet.
This is one of those notebooks.
But
So let me ask you this now. So we had the advertisements. Social media is a huge thing.
Yep.
I know you're delving into a social media guy. New territory for you.
yeah, so it's
I'm gonna put her down. Hang on one second.
Oh.
Oh no, go ahead. I can. You can
Oh, I thought you wanted to stop
sorry.
the production. So I thought that with you want to try and get a good balance between work and family, and work is not my top priority. My family's my top priority.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's the way I was raised. And a good saying is, I work to live, I don't live to work. Because you could work 24 hours a day if you want to.
Yep.
And, you know, the other thing is, like I mentioned Shannon before, she runs the office. She does a great job, and she can dispatch the guys. And there's stuff she does. She's going to do it better than me.
Yeah.
And, you know, with social media, I've done it. I've just not been satisfied with the results. So I hired somebody who does this for a living. And with that type of stuff, I said, listen, I'll give you 6 months, because I hired somebody for SEO and all of that stuff.
Huge.
And I don't care about clicks or impressions I care about customers.
Right.
Converting those clicks to customers.
Yeah. As the owner of the company or manager, whatever you want to classify it as, our job is to get leads and convert the leads.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
That is the bottom line.
And
that's really what it comes down to.
I don't, you know, I don't need that you got X amount of impressions or this or that. I'm not looking for a comedian. Just get me to work.
They're just trying with all that stuff, because they'll give you printouts and insights on your ads and stuff. And they're just trying to fluff you up to make you feel like you've got your money's worth.
It's real simple. But
Yeah.
They'll either contact us through the website. People can make their own calls now through the website. Text us. I mean, with our work phone number now with Thrive, they can call or text the main number. So that's handy. But, you know, you just ask them, how did you come to call us for a new customer? Oh, it was a recommendation, or you worked for my mother, or blah, blah, blah.
The moms groups.
Oh, they're
You
huge.
get those? I know.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think most of the stuff comes from those moms groups and recommendations. Once somebody finds a good plumber or a good mechanic in any field, somebody's always saying, oh, you know, go to this guy. I trust him. I know him. Still think it's the biggest
thing that's hard for me to understand is we moved from Rivervale to Park Ridge. So it's 2 towns away.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we moved our business address, when you put find a plumber near me, we dropped off the side of the earth.
Oh, wow.
So we're spending money through Facebook and all of that stuff just to market that Rivervale, Harrington Park, Old Tappan, Northern Valley area.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to maintain that.
You kind of have to. Absolutely. Well, I mean, first of all, I think, and we've gone a little long, but I do want to touch base on one more thing. I think the history from 1927 to present is totally fascinating. I could talk about that all day long. I love that. I love the way the industry changed, because I'm third generation, but my grandfather started in 61.
Okay.
His father was a Manhattan Union plumber since, I've said this before, I think it was like 27, around there. So he started out there, and then my grandfather started his own business in 61. He worked in the city prior.
Okay.
But this is why I like to have guys like yourself and Mike Medaglia on here to talk about the history of this industry.
I mean, back in the 70s was the beginning of the rubber donuts for cast iron and no-hub couplings. I mean, I was brought up on renovations with, you put a PVC soil pipe adapter in, you put the Oakham in, and you pour a joint.
Oh, you pour a joint with PVC?
Yeah, it's a soil pipe adapter.
Oh, wow.
Yep. You could do it that way, or you could use lead wool and compact it.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of easy ways to do plumbing nowadays, but we have homeowners that try it, and we're in there all the time fixing it. So I'm fine with it. Go try it. Go give it a shot.
It's still a difficult field, even though, listen, things are always, you're always trying to make things easier.
Yeah.
Not just for the plumber, but for the homeowner. But I'm sure people used to always try to do things themselves back in the day too. But at the end of the day, if you're not well versed in this field, you can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
There's a reason why, like, I can do stuff on my car, but I'm not gonna do it because it's annoying. and I'd rather take it to somebody who has all the right equipment, right tools.
And if it goes wrong, I can blame somebody besides myself.
Exactly.
So I gave you a poster already. You got that.
I got the poster.
So here's something else that our local association gives that
and
out.
You know what? I'll put this up at the camera. You guys are going to start seeing these around.
What is it?
We're going to post that on this episode.
Essentially, it says, I mean, as a homeowner, you can do whatever work you want to in your house, and that's certainly fine, your decision, what have you. But if you're not licensed and charging for work to be done,
these unmarked vans,
it's illegal.
This basically says, no touchy. No touch.
Well, it lists the offense. So, you know, it's not I heard that this is illegal, what have you. And one of the things with the New Jersey State League of Master Plumbers, the shameless plug is joinmasterplumbers.com. As a member, there's a link in there that you can send in a complaint to the licensing board if somebody's doing illegal work.
That's perfect. I got a list that I can submit.
Good.
I'm ready to go. All these unmarked.
Here
what else we got? I love swag.
So that can go on the back of your truck, and I gave you a third one because by this time next year, I expect you to have a third truck.
Steve, I thank you for the motivation. I need that. Look at that. Joinmasterplumbers.com.
And they're
you kick
nice
him, he motivates you.
What's that?
I said he kicks you, you motivate him.
Yeah, I kick you down. I kick you when you're down, and you just motivate me.
You gotta get a lot more than that to kick me down. I think I have the confidence to overcome that kick.
Listen, I think you've seen a lot since then. Steve, thanks so much for coming on. I love these conversations. Again, Steve Hopper of Pratt Plumbing and Heating in Park Ridge, New Jersey. You want to give your website? We'll throw it up.
Sure. It's prattservices.net. SERVICES.net.
How about your phone number?
It's 201-666-8400.
And where can they find you on social media?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google Maps, and I think that covers it.
TikTok? No TikTok? Yeah, it's getting shut down.
I think it's TikTok, but I'm not as strong in that. So
you know what's surprisingly, I get a lot of views on TikTok. It may not be leading to anything,
because they're looking at the dog.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that's why she sits on my lap. All right, guys. Listen, thanks for joining us on Plum Bums. We really appreciate it. We want to remind you that now Plum Bums is sponsored by the New Jersey State League of Master Plumbers, which Steve Hopper was so nice for us, so nicely got us into. We appreciate that, Steve. Thanks for advocating for this stupid little YouTube show that we do.
You give a lot back to the plumbing profession, so we're happy to support that.
Thank you, sir. Listen, if you guys want to check out joinmasterplumbers.com, They donate scholarships. They donate to charities. They have the shotgun shoot. They have a lobbyist that is fighting for the industry. So if you're a new plumber, we encourage you to get involved in your local plumbers association. It's very, very important.
It's the largest master plumber organization in the country.
Is it New Jersey?
Really? Wow.
Absolutely.
Look at all these facts I'm learning today. Amazing. Folks, also, we are sponsored by Jigsaw, jigsawpmr.com, property maintenance restoration. They will take care of mold, sewer, fire, water, any type of damage. I'm sure you guys are going to get some freezing pipes by the end of this winter because a cold snap is coming. So we want to stay in touch with Jigsaw. Jigsaw is one of our best contractors. Check them out, jigsawpmr.com. Want to remind you, if you want to be on the show as a guest, we are always looking for people in a cool industry, cool field, an entrepreneur, or if you want to share some life advice for up-and-comers, you're going to go to quartzplumbing.com. You're going to click the podcast link, scroll down, fill out the Be a Guest application, and always remember to like, share, subscribe, and we will see you here next time.